Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining this informative session. Let me start by introducing my colleague, Carla Carbonell, and myself, Irene Puga. We will try our best to make this session as practical as possible. Let me start with some instructions for this session. This session will be conducted in English, as we have participants from many different countries. During our presentation, please switch off your microphone and camera. A live questions and answers session will begin once the presentation has finished. To ask a question, click on the raise hand icon that you can find in the bottom menu under the reactions. Once we give you the floor, connect your microphone and camera and then ask your question. Please pay attention to the presentation and the previous questions to avoid repetitions, and use the tool chat if you have any technical questions or issues. You can also send us your questions to our email. Okay, a quick reminder that you can find all the information for the CaixaResearch Health Call in our website. Please check carefully the provided documents, especially the rules for participation and the manual for submission. In the Facts tab, you can also find helpful questions and answers, as well as a detailed step-by-step video tutorial for the submission process. For any specific doubt, you can always send us the email. Here is the address, healthresearch@fundacionlacaixa.org. We have divided this session into sections. First, I will introduce general and more conceptual facts that we gathered from previous editions. And next, Carla will explain certain aspects of the online system in a visual manner. As you know, the call is now open until November 15 at 2 p.m. And here you have the timeline of the evaluation, which has a remote phase and a selection committee with interviews, face-to-face interviews. In order to start a proposal as a project leader, what we refer as PL, you must comply with these pre-eligibility parameters. First, your remote evaluation from last year proposals as PL or principal investigator, what we refer as PI, require at least a 5.5. If you have submitted more than one proposal, all the remote evaluations must be at least 5.5. Granted PLs from the 3 previous editions cannot submit a proposal as PL, only as PIs. As this is the 6th edition of the call, granted PLs of the 1st and the 2nd edition can apply now as PLs, even if they have asked for an extension of their project. You know that the host organization must be based in Spain and Portugal, but other partners, other PIs, can be from any country. And there are no limitations in the number of proposals per organization. One researcher can submit only one proposal as PL, but they can also apply as PI or team members in other proposals without limitation. Next, yeah. These are the 5 thematic areas. Consider that the selection committee of enabling technologies will be more prone to evaluate the creation and development of a health facilitating technology, where their expertise is focused on. In the other thematic areas, the panels are not experts in technologies. We try to distribute equitably the 20 million total budget of the call among the 5 thematic areas. These are the type of projects that you can submit. In this case, the budget distribution among the types of project is not predefined and will only depend on the ranking in the selection committee. Each proposal should have only one PI per organization. From the host organization, only the PL. Other researchers from the same organization should be included in the team members of the corresponding organization. The CV of the team members is not evaluated per se, only the PIs and the PLs. Team members from other organizations are not allowed. For example, in individual proposals, all team members should be from the host organization. The CSO, the civil society organizations, should perform non-research activities in the project. For example, dissemination, patient engagement, sample provider, and so on. And their budget is optional, whereas the partners, the PIs, have a specific role, scientific role, in the proposal, and their budget is mandatory. For-profit entities are not allowed to participate as partners, but their activities can be subcontracted by any of the proposal organizations. This call is not entitled for proposals with a clear benefit for-profit organizations. Therefore, if the results of the proposal are already subject to rights held for-profit organizations before the submission, they are not eligible. These are the concepts in the budget. Indirect costs are up to 10% of direct costs, not considering the subcontracting cost. For consortium proposals with international partner, the total amount of budget that can be distributed to non-Spanish and non-Portuguese organizations is in global up to 30% of the total budget. There is no limit in the different concepts or distribution among partners, but consider that the budget is important for the evaluation of the proposal. Personal expenses may include new contracts, salary complements, or contracts already paid by the organization. Next, a very important element to take into account, the keywords. The keywords define the remote evaluation of your proposal. The PLs should select the keywords in the online system from the NIH mesh tree, which has a tree structures with branches at different levels. One keyword can be classified in more than one branch. We believe that this example may be helpful for our explanation. Brain neoplasm can be found in the C10 branch, but also in the C4. By selecting brain neoplasms, these and all the keywords in upper levels will be considered to assign the peer reviewers. So by selecting the C4 branch, the keyword neoplasm will also be considered. So by selecting the first one, your project is more prone to be evaluated by a neuroscience expert, but whereas the second one will lead to an expert on the oncology field. Next, Carla. So for this reason, we recommend you to select the keyword at the lowest level possible, as keywords above will be considered in the process of selecting reviewers. And select only the keywords from the branch that best fits your proposal. You should select main and other keywords. The main ones should describe the core of your proposal and will have a higher impact in the selection of reviewers. Other important keywords should highlight aspects that are not described in the main keywords and which can result in important expertise for the revision of your proposal. Due to the availability of the remote experts and their own keywords, our pool of experts differs from each edition. Therefore, a resubmitted proposal will not necessarily have the same remote evaluation than in previous editions. For the selection committee, only the thematic area is considered to distribute proposals among the 5 panels. Please check carefully your selection of keywords and also the thematic area where your proposal is. Next, this is something new of this year, the eligibility process. The eligibility process consists of 2 phases. The first one is a format eligibility to ensure the fulfillment of the application criteria that is published in the rules of participation of this call. Next, we have a content eligibility to ensure that the application is ready to undergo the evaluation process. You can find all the details in the eligibility and evaluation guidelines in our website. But basically, we are using an artificial intelligence tool that is capable to detect those proposals with a very low probability of being selected for committees by analyzing text fields, not personal data. This content eligibility consists in the revision by 2 experts of those applications that are previously flagged by our artificial intelligence model. Each proposal flagged by the AI model will be revised by 2 experts that will confirm that the application is not mature enough, or they have written doubts, and then the proposal will undergo the normal evaluation process. Both eligibility processes do not have redress or appeal procedure. And the PLs and PIs of the proposals dismissed by this eligibility process will not be prevented from participating in future editions of the call. Next, Carla, please.
Thank you, Irene. So now some considerations on the platform, on the application, on the online system. First of all, the applicants, all the participants of the project are applicants. Project leader is in charge of the opening and submission of the proposal. Again, remind you that the deadline is November 15th to CET, and it's an automatic closure. Not proposals will be accepted after that time. They will go to withdrawn, and we will not be able to recover that. You can also have on your application, in case of consortiums, principal investigators, and even for single organizations or consortiums, you can have civil society organizations. Both should be invited by the project leader, and these participants should accept the invitation to be able to be part of the project. On the other hand, the organization manager, that's the representative of the organization in the system, as a project leader, they will need to accept your participation in this call before the submission. To avoid last-minute problems, please, there's a validation button during all the process that you can always check that you're fulfilling the criteria and that everything's okay in your proposal. After submission, any modification can be done on your applications. For the invitations, in case you are a consortium and you want to invite PIs or CSOs or single organization with CSOs, you will need to invite them to the application. Okay? PIs or CSOs do not need to be pre-registered in the system. They can straight ahead get the invitation and then register in the system. But if they are pre-registered, please make sure that you are inviting them to the email that they are registered in the system. Again, there's only one PI per research performing organizations. We advise you to invite all members of this proposal at once, as later on, if you want to remove one of the participants of the proposal, any acceptance that has been done, we need to be pre-approval from the PIs or the CSOs. But do that at the beginning of the process, as to be able to add information of this participant in the proposal, you will need to be able to select them. And for that, they will have to accept your invitations. To accept the invitation, there are two steps. First of all, you will get an email with a link, and then you will be able to accept the invitation. That step will give you access to the application. If you are pre-registered, you will access the system straight ahead. If not, at that point, you will need to register in the system. All the process will take you step by step. Once you've done that, you have access to the application. You can check the application, and if you agree participating in this content, then you will have to accept the project acceptance. You can find that information under the actions section of your homepage. To be able to submit the proposal by the PL, all the invitations have to be, and the project participation have to be accepted or discarded. As only one PI per research performing organization is accepted, if you invite more than once for the set from the same organizations, one will be conflicted. If that happens, project leader will need to discard that action and that participation. If you need to discard someone, please do so from the project participant section and from the invitations. On the reference and publication sections, we have improved this tool for this year, and we hope that it's more useful for you. In first step, you will find an Add Publications button and press here to be able to start. Again, you can always add publications manually, but we ask you to go to the publications search tool, just add manually those that you cannot find indexed. When you go to the publications tool, you can search that publications for any important information, add the plus button to add them to your list, and then create the transaction to add them to your application. You will see then, after clicking Save Draft, the publications or reference in the list. After that, the new tool will appear an Edit Publication List button, and you will be able to reorder your publications by moving them as a drag and drop up or down. You can do that at any time. So you could be able to download your reference and publications, and at the end, reorder them as wished or change that order at any time. On the publications section, on the project team tab, you have a third step. That is, you need to link the publications to my publications related to the proposal table to be able to describe the importance of that publication to your proposal. Just get into that table, select the DOI from the dropdown. It's taking the DOIs from the list of publications that you have transacted to your proposal, and the number will appear automatically. Any change that you have done, that you do at any time to the publications list, you need to get into this table and update the information to be able to re-update again the DOI and the number assigned to your description. Referring to the Gantt, there's a Gantt tool where you can add tasks to your Gantt, enter the required information, the task responsible, the description, the dates, and the work package. Save the Gantt. You can always confirm and reopen if you need to do any change to that task. But for the submission, all the tasks will need to be confirmed. You will not be able to submit with tasks in draft status. Save draft, and then you will see the chart of your tasks built in the application, as it's shown in the slide. The tasks will be organized first by work package and then by start date. The same work package will have the same color, so it's easy for you to see the different sections and for the reviewer on their evaluation. Again, just remind you, you can have all the helpful documents in our website. Also, a step-by-step tutorial video for the most difficult parts of the application. And if you have any question, you can contact us by email and we will answer you as fast as possible. And thank you for your attention. And then we'll start with the questions and answers that you might have.
Okay, so let's start with the question. Please, I see first in the line, Ramon. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for this kind presentation to try to help the best for the young researchers. My question was, when we are involved, I don't know if they are connected or not, our colleagues from the research department in the Institute of Research of my hospital, Vall d'Hebron, but I would like to know if when we belong to a huge institution, who I believe it's our director who registers, and then he gives all the data from the PIs, or it has to be ourselves who do that, and then we include the institution. What is the way to do it?
Okay, I think I'll go with that answer. You have to register yourself as a user. And when you register, the system asks you to get linked to the organization. So first you will add your information, your name, your ID, your email, and you have to choose from a list your organization. If you don't find it there, you can always kind of pre-register to add the organization to the system. But the only thing you will be requested to do at that point is add the name and the VAT number of the organization, because then the organization manager will always be responsible to fulfill the whole information for the organization. At this point, your organization is already in the system, so you will find it on the list. So if you are not as a user in the system, you will need to register as an applicant if you want to be project leader, or even if you want to be PI or CSO, and link your user to that organization. When you get into the register, you can see all that information and follow step by step.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, please let me tell you that if please could you make your questions through this system, because through the chat is not going to be able to follow all that questions you are making. So please do it in this system, with your hands up, or just go to Health Research and you can just make any question there, and we will answer as soon as possible during the day. Thank you so much. So Raquel Lopez, please go ahead with your question. Raquel, you are muted.
Yeah, we don't hear you.
Oh,
she's
Raquel
saying
has
in
no,
the chat
okay.
that has no microphone. Is epidemiological research considered on the topic of oncology and big data, or is it only basic research? Epidemiology research is considered. It's not an enabling technology, so you should go ahead on the oncology field if that is the case, even though it's big data.
Right, thank you, Irene. So Justo, thank you for your question.
Thank you very much for this clear and quick presentation with the main points. We plan to take into the team in a consortium an international organization. They want to ensure that they are based in France and that they can receive funds. I understand that's the case. Now, if that is the case, what they ask, and this is an important question for them, is that because they have regulations, is the International Agency for Cancer Research of the World Health Organization, of the WHO, in Lyon, they say this theoretical partner, our partner, would have a number of unavoidable constraints and specificities, and most likely will have to request a few derogations on some elements of the rules of participation. So the rules of participations are both very strict in terms of what you should fulfill, and second is mandatory for eligibility. So if, let's say, oh, you will have to be submitted to an audit, and they say, we are an international organization, we are not allowed to allow audits from an external organization. So is that correct? Can we make an additional partnership agreement besides what is in the rules, or this is not allowed? To ensure that this is also well explained, I will send an email. But what is the situation, please?
Carla, shall I go?
Yes, and I can always add if.
Yeah, please. So basically, the rules for participation are what they are, and that's for sure. In consortium, there's the need for an audit once the project is finished, but it's something that you can do internally, let's say. So the project leader is the one that receives all the money, right? So our grant agreement from La Caixa Foundation is only with the PL institution, with the host institution.
Okay.
He or she will receive all the money, the institution, and then is the host organization that has to divide the budget among the different partners. Therefore, you should write your own agreement with your partners, and that is not something that we are going to say anything about, so you can do your own agreement with whatever things you want to put in this agreement.
So basically, just let me clarify, it will be the project leader of the host of organization, the one that will define the interaction with the rest of the partners.
Correct. Our interaction is only with the host organization and with the PL. Then it's true that for a consortium agreement, we ask for an audit at the end, economical audit, to make sure that all the expenses have been done in a good way. But that's something that the PL has to sum up. So it's either contracted by the host organization or by each partner, and then the host organization compiles. Is it true that during the legal review, all the partners are assessed? I think Carla can answer better this part. So regarding the legal documentation, all the partners should provide them.
Okay.
Yes, I think that it's a good idea to send us the specific restrictions that this organization might have. But as Irene was saying, we don't audit the organization. We audit the expenses of the project just to make sure that they are correctly used. And again, there's some projects decide that their own organization does the audit of that part of the project, and then the project leader or the host organization compiles the information and shares it with La Caixa audit team. And other projects decide that the host organization does the audit of the whole project, and then the other organizations, the only thing they have to do is share their information and expenses. That is up to you. But if you have specific questions about the audit, please send it to us, and we can share with the audit team to make sure that we won't find a problem in 3 years if you are selected. And if there's any other kind of restriction based on the rules of participation, that would be important to know, because if they are PIs, they are research performing organizations, they need to get a budget. If they're in France, the only limitation is that they can only get maximum 30% of the whole amount of the budget. Besides that, I cannot, besides the audit or what you already said, I cannot think about some other restrictions that they could have. We have consortiums with public or international organizations, and we haven't had any issue with them for the moment. And yes, on the legal revision, if you are selected, the typical documentation for money laundering is requested if you get money. If it's not if it's a private organization, that it's not going to be your case. Besides that, it's only the typical documentation to make sure that the organization exists. I mean, the basic registration on the authority component and all that sort of stuff.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Ana Clara Cristobal.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really clear. I have some questions about the publications.
Mm-hmm.
When it's just for the PLs and the PIs, right?
Yes.
Of it. But when we invite the members, we invite, for instance, the PI of an organization and the whole team associated?
No.
With this PI?
Formally, to the application, you only invite the principal investigator, and there's one for research performing organization. That means that if you have a consortium of the host organization and, for example, 2 more organizations, you will need to invite 2 principal investigators. The whole team is informed or explained in some text boxes that ask or request the information and the potentiality of the team related to this PI, etc., etc. And the CSOs, if you have them, they also get invited to the proposal, but they don't have a kind of short CV or either publications, because as Irene said before, they don't perform research activities. You have a text box to explain what's the activities that this civil society organization does in the proposal and what says in the proposal.
Okay, so that send me to the next question, which is about the for-profit institutions or organizations. They are not listed, but we should mention them, right?
They are
in the proposal,
I think,
or they are listed.
So they cannot be partners. For-profit organizations cannot be partners. You can describe them in whatever box you feel fits in your proposal, and they can be subcontracted. So they can receive money by the host organization or by other partners that subcontracts the for-profit organization, but they don't, as they are not a partner. Their CV is not described, let's say.
Okay. I have 2 different situations with these for-profits. I have one situation in which I have identified the for-profit organization already, and another one, which is a research service that I'm still looking for someone that will provide the service.
No problem.
So I should describe this in the whole proposal, right?
Yeah. Exactly. If in the methodology they do some technique or whatever, you can describe it and say that you will find it later on, and you put the money in the subcontracted for once you find it.
And in the budget justification, we should explain this.
Yeah, I think it's good if you already have it, that the budget is very specific, and if not, that you add,
Okay.
a range of what you think will cost.
Okay, suppose we list or mention one for-profit for a specific work package, and then at certain point we find someone else, some other organization that is better, we can switch, right?
Yes.
No problem.
Okay.
Actually, it's really normal to describe this service that you will need to subcontract and not have a name at that point. So you're not even sure that you might be taking that you already know. Decide if it's better to describe the needs or the service that you will subcontract. It's a little bit up to you, but it's not a problem at all, as they are not partners in the proposal. You just need a service and you will get it. And you understand that you'll get it.
Yeah, this is all related with clinical trials. So are clinical trials eligible within this call?
They are, as long as I don't know if you heard the explanation for profit. So basically, if the asset is not already engaged in a for-profit organization at the time of the submission, there's no problem.
Okay.
If later on it happens, it's okay. It's part of your project.
Okay, later if it happens, there's not a problem, because it may happen actually. That's why I'm still thinking. No problem.
Yeah, no problem. And we're not taking any part in whatever revenues come from. So it's not a problem.
Okay, just in case it may happen, I don't want to feel that it was illegal, kind of.
No, absolutely, no problem.
Okay, so for me, I think I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If I have more questions, I will email. Thank you so much.
Please.
Thank you, Ana Clara. So please, Ana Planas, your questions. Thank you.
Hello, thank you very much for the explanations. I have a question going back to a previous question about international partners. The situation that was asked before was for a partner in Europe. So for a partner outside the EU, I mean, how does it work? I mean, I'm a bit concerned about this issue you explained about the eligibility, because you mentioned that there may be like a process of checking eligibility. And of course, if we do all the steps and then in the end we find out that we're not eligible, it would be a terrible situation. I mean, could it be possible to ask about the specific organization to you to see whether they are eligible before we engage in all the process?
All organizations should be, I mean, I cannot think why should not be eligible if they are non-profit.
Yeah, it's a university. I mean, no matter where it is,
no problem at all. International
we haven't found any problem yet with any organization, and we have consortiums from all over the world. So
the eligibility is based on the fulfilling the criteria, and we don't have any limitations on organizations if they are non-profit as part of the consortium, and based on the content and the maturity of the proposal. So nothing to do with the partnership.
So would you advise to, because it seems that finally the money will be kind of arranged within our institution and the other partner, would you advise to check first with our institution that there will be no trouble, just to anticipate any possible,
Definitely, definitely the agreement with them will be with your host organization. So if you find there's no problem there, for us, it will be fine.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Bye.
Thank you.
Actually, to add on the application, you will describe the budget per partner. But after that, the project leader will get the money, host organization will get the money, and then share it with the consortium.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
Great. So please, Pablo Garcia.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I just had a few questions for the team members, not the PI or the PL, for the team members. Do they have to be specifically named as specific persons? No, you just talk about the team in general.
There's a text box to describe the team member of each PL and PI. And then you have a limitation. So it depends on you, basically, if you want to describe more specifically with names and experience, if it helps the project, or if you want to keep it more general.
It's not requested. Actually, it's requested to explain the potentiality of the team in a whole. So if you want to highlight some name, perfect. If you don't do, but sometimes you want to hire a PhD or postdoc or whatever, and you don't have the name now. So actually, it's more important to talk about the team as a whole. So it's a little bit up to you, but you don't have a table with names and whatever.
All right. And also, how important is preliminary data in the application related to the project?
We actually have a variety of granted projects with more or less preliminary data. There are projects that are more high risk, high gain, and sometimes reviewers may ask for a proof of concept, and that happened. Or sometimes they find the project with the potential of working, and they don't expect so much preliminary data. It's a question that it's hard to tell, because it depends on the project and on the reviewers, basically.
Yeah. Also, my international partner would be the University of Adelaide in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wondering, if my institution here in Spain receives the money and say we give 30% to them, obviously my institution is going to ask for 10% as indirect cost. They will. What if the University of Adelaide asks another 10% on their share? Because obviously my institution, the way I think about it, it would take 10% of the 30% that we're giving to them, and then they will ask 10% for that. Is there a problem in that? It's because I think it could be that that 10% gets duplicated, because both institutions will ask for it.
No, it's a
maximum. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's a maximum.
It's only 10.
Yeah, unfortunately, each there's columns for PL, PIs, and each of them should be maximum at 10%. So the 10% of the money that will go to Australia should be for them. Okay. So it should not add it to the total 10% that your host organization. So your host organization can only apply up to a 10%, ask for a 10% of the money that will remain, even though you will receive everything, but only a part of it will remain in your host organization. Whatever money goes away, the 10% of that part cannot be asked.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I just want to be clear with my organization, so then people are not confused and say, oh, we want this money or whatever. Yeah.
The overhead is at 10%. I think somebody's asking now. 10% of the direct cost, not taking into account the subcontracting.
Yeah, and for the audit, for the University of Adelaide specifically, if I ask them to have an audit on the results, say I get the money and we do it, and then they do the audit, what kind of documents would CaixaResearch ask for generally? Like what kind of, how does it work? It's just a report from the institution?
Yes, it's a class
signed by whatever relevant person. Okay.
With the expenses and the different justification of the expenses.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but do they, I guess my question is, do they have to hire a company to do it specifically, or?
No, whatever they are used to do for their internal audits is fine. The PL will compile the different audits from all the organizations and will send it to us. But there's no need. You can put a specific money for that in the budget, but that depends on how each organization usually does these processes.
Yeah. Okay. And the last one, if my project would be a vaccine project, so a number of vaccines could come out of it, what would be the IP restrictions? Is it up to the host organization to deal with the IP that comes out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not part of the IP. We don't ask for anything.
Okay,
So
like
whatever
Caixa
you
is not
agree
involved
among the
in that.
partners and the organizations involved, because this is always sometimes, well, always not, but sometimes an issue, but we are not part of this.
Yeah, and so this is the last one, actually, promise. So I'm gonna be, my contract goes beyond the resolution of this round and a bit farther on, but probably not for the whole 3 years. So is that
No
a
problem.
problem if
No.
I'm the PL?
No, no problem.
Can I draw my salary actually from the project to continue? Cool.
Exactly.
Yes.
The only thing is
Right.
that it has to be present in the moment of submission. It has to be.
Yeah, that's
There
not a
has to be a
problem.
link
Yeah.
between you and your host organization in the moment of submission. But if after that you need to put the money on the grant, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Antonio Artigas, welcome.
Thank you very much for your excellent presentations. I have only 3 questions, very quick and short questions. The first is that if you are submitting a project that can fit in 2 thematic areas, I give you an example, for example, to use nanotechnology in some infection disease, how we can proceed?
Carla, you want to go ahead?
Yes, if the main thing here is that if the, in this case, the nanotechnology is the core of the project, you should apply to enabling technologies, not only, but mainly because of you will be evaluated if you get to the second phase on the enabling technology panel. If you are evaluated on the infectious panel, we might not have reviewers that maybe know that technique enough. So if the core of the project is the technology, you should apply to the enabling technology panel. But that's more for you to decide as you know the project better. All the enabling technology projects have to be linked to one of the previous thematic areas. So infectious disease, neuroscience, oncology, or
But
cardiology.
there is no the possibility to be evaluated by the 2 thematic areas experts.
No, because there are 5 different panels happening simultaneously in 2 days.
Okay.
That's quite impossible.
Yeah, because sometimes it's difficult to that one experts in one area, they are really experts in some in a part of the project, you know. This is a problem. The same for any technologies or etc., especially for basic biology.
Mm-hmm.
The reviewers on the enabling technology panel are linked also to biological areas, I would say, or medical areas. That's for sure. But it's more for you to decide what is more important in your project, if the disease itself or the technology. That's
my second question is the call, the previous call of the La Caixa on COVID. This is included in the evaluation to look on the score that we receive, for example, or is not included in this call. It was a previous call of La Caixa on COVID.
There was a specific call during the COVID for COVID
but
project.
this is not taking account for this.
No.
For this call, okay,
No.
that is important.
Mm-hmm.
And the last question is, what is the participation of the La Caixa in any profit of the results of the research, for example, patents, etc.?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
We will try to help you.
Just to inform, and that's all.
No, for this call, there's no profit in our side. We will have you, as Carla was saying, there's mentoring on the innovation calls that La Caixa Foundation has. And in those ones, the rules are different. But in the health research call, there's no participation on our side.
Okay, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So Silvia Ferreira, may we have your question?
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So I have two different questions. So the first one is how I can include collaborators that will provide, that are not team members. They will be providing samples, training, or access to equipment. So I have a question on that. How should I include them? They are not team members, but they are supporting the team.
Mhm.
I would say, go
Are
ahead.
they from your own organization? Not just to know if they're from your own organization.
No.
From a different organization.
Different organization.
Okay, Carla, sorry.
Yeah, I would say you have two options here, depending on the idea or their participation. They can always be, as Irene was saying before, for example, sample suppliers. They can always be CSOs, civils, in that sense, even if they're doing a training or dissemination, or if they can be subcontracted. That depends. If they're subcontracted, they're included in the budget, and that's all. If they would have something or more significant participation in the project, if they are added as CSOs, but you have a maximum of 3 to be able to add in the project, you have a kind of a small section to be able to describe the CSO and the significance of the CSOs in the project. Again, CSOs are civil society organizations. Some people think think about patient associations, but again, any kind of non-research participation on the project that is meaningful
But
be added there.
But Carla, in this case, it's a researcher based in academia that will provide samples, training, and also access to equipment. But it's not like it will be part of the team. It's just a collaborator.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can do both. Even if he is a researcher, he is not doing research activities in this project. So his role in this project will not be research activities. But again, you can add him or her as a subcontracting, and then describe it maybe in methodology or in the consortium or whatever section, and that would be enough. Or maybe think about having a specific section for this participation under CSO role. I don't know, Irene, if you wanted to add something.
Yeah. No, what Carla was saying, that even though they're researchers, if their role in the project is non-research, they can be CSO in the project.
Okay.
And therefore it's not a consortium, because individual projects can have CSO and keep it individual.
Okay. The other question is more basics about the platform. So in the task description, I noticed there is no limit for characters. Is there any restriction on that level?
You've got limits on characters in each text box. You'll see the limit on characters under the text box, and there's a countdown while you start writing.
Yeah, but I started filling in the specific task description one, and I couldn't find the limit.
In the Gantt task?
In the
task description.
It's 500.
Okay. And then the other one, in terms of budget, when we come onto the budget, how much detail and information is necessary?
It's 500 characters too, so you'll have a section.
For concept.
For concept, yeah. So, I mean, the idea is with a short explanation on what that concept is for, taking into account the different organizations you might have should be enough. When you open the big table with all the partners, for example, the personnel concept is divided in several different concepts that information is gathered, and you've got several comments, one for each sub-concept on that item. The other ones are like equipment, and then you will have the text box to add the information for all the organizations. So,
okay. I got another question about the collaborators. So from my understanding, a researcher that is not doing research can be a CSO, which is really confusing to me. So could you please give me an example how a collaborator that I described could be included? I kind of didn't understand how you suggested it will be better for including this participant that is not a team member.
Our idea about the CSOs were to include in the project civil society organizations, that mean, for example, because we think that they have value for the project, that means, for example, to have patient associations that do some kind of patient engagement or help on the dissemination. That's the basic and main idea of why we created that specific role in the system. But on the other hand, the description of the CSO is a role in the system that does not perform research activities. It could help on dissemination or supply some samples or whatever. You can add those kind of collaborations in the system as CSOs or as subcontracting. The main difference here is that if you add them as CSOs, you will have a specific section to be able to describe their value for the project. That's the main difference. Again, you have a limitation of 3 because the basic idea that we have with the CSOs is, for example, patient association. But that's not contrary with the option of having a collaborator that, I don't know, normally if you've got a consultant, most projects put them as subcontracting. But if it's, I don't know, I would say really active consultant and really have a value, and the only thing that they do is as a consultant, they don't perform research activities, you can always think about adding that as CSO. But again, CSOs for us is more like, I would say, patient associations added to the project to add that social value to the project.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, thank you so much. Carolina Alqueza, you're welcome to ask.
Hi. Hi, good morning. So I'm going to ask one question that another researcher already wrote on the chat. So my question is if for young investigators, young researchers, is worth for us to apply to these grants? Like for example, I start my lab in January and I want to apply in an individual grant. So I don't have so many preliminary data. I don't have so many grants. How is the chance for us to be competitive in this kind of grants, or is better if we ask for a consortium, or maybe if we wait a couple of years? Because it's a lot of work to write in this kind of grants. So I want to ask that.
Shall I start and you continue? So this is actually a very competitive call, and we know that. I think somebody in the chat was asking for how many proposals versus granted grants we have. You have all the information in the website, but for example, last year we have around 650 proposals submitted and we granted 33. It's true that we try our best to have a CV where the experts, the reviewers can value the potential of each PL and PI in their moment of life.
Okay.
And tell them to follow this idea and do not check on PubMed for more publications, but to keep it with the information that they can find in the proposal. But it's true that the reviewers usually go to PubMed and mention the CV, and we have I wouldn't say a bias, but we have a lot of granted grants that are from more senior. But in each edition, you can check online. We always have young researchers.
Yes.
It's a little bit of it's difficult to tell you. Last year there were 2 female PLs that they did consortiums. One of them did consortium, the other one did not, and they were granted, and they were really young PLs in that sense. But sometimes it's hard to get it in the first edition. I think whatever comments the reviewers give you are important. So I believe even if you don't get granted the first time.
I'm afraid, my fear is that if I have a very low score, I cannot apply next year. This is why my fear about that. If I apply now and I get a very low score, I mean, maybe it's worth to wait.
That's true. Okay. That's true. But but as I said, there are young PLs granted, so it's not impossible. It's just that it's our effort. I don't know, Carla, if you want to add.
Yes, again, as you can find on the rules of participations and on the evaluation guide, the 75% of the score, it's based on the project, only the 25 on the team. So again, we really want to value the project itself and not, and the team that has to be capable to take that project on place, but not that CV related. That's why we are not, and we've got a lot of complaints about that, but that's why we are not requesting or asking, or you cannot upload any traditional CV anywhere. And we are only asking for the 5 more relevant publications, maximum 5 related to the proposal per PLPI. So that's our idea. We don't want to be the selection based on how long your career and how success your career was, but how good the project is and the capacity of the team to go ahead with it. So I would say please apply, but obviously that's
no, yeah, okay, yeah, I need to think about that. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So now, Sara Almeida.
Hi, good morning. I have 2 questions regarding the eligible costs. Regarding the purchasing equipment, should we have to submit depreciation costs or the acquisition?
No, the whole cost of an equipment can be added in the budget.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is regarding, is it possible to submit patent costs?
Submit what?
Patent costs.
Patents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcelo Bertalmio, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very short and clear. I really appreciate it. So my question is the following. I want to ask you about, historically, whether or not the evaluators tend to favor proposals which are larger, more ambitious in terms of size, or if it's equal, they equally value small proposals. Because I'm thinking of my idea for a proposal is in computational neuroscience, and it would be a small thing. I'm thinking of hiring a postdoc, and would that have more or less equal chances than a larger proposal?
When you talk about larger, you mean budget? Smaller or less?
Yeah, I mean, yes. And I am also thinking, because my proposal would be self-contained, and I'm thinking that maybe there are other proposals which are larger and also are also part of, let's say, an ongoing research collaboration for which this would be a part that would contribute. And in that sense, yeah, so it would be different in sizes in that sense.
So no, not at all. They don't know that sense, not at all. It has to be solid itself. It has to be linked to infectious neuroscience, oncology, or cardiovascular and metabolic disease. That link is important because sometimes it's not, I would say, mature enough or solid enough, and that could be an issue as it is needed or requested on the evaluation criteria. But besides that, I cannot think of anything else. Irene?
Correct.
No, basically, if you check the granted projects, there's always big projects with big consortiums, and there's always individual projects much more specific. In each editions, we have quite a balance. If you see the 50-50 of them, because as Carla was saying, is the project is solid, it doesn't need a big consortium, but sometimes, a big helps. So it's not a predefined thing to be better on one side or the other.
Okay, thank you very much. That was all. Thank you.
It's more normal to have single projects, or we usually get more single projects in some things. And then in some others, consortiums, because probably
in enabling technologies, there's always more consortiums than in
disciplinary,
for example, in oncology.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Claudia Vieira.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I arrived late. I confused the hours. Sorry for that. So if I repeat the question, just let me know that it was already addressed.
No problem.
So I was wondering if we can include third-party agreements for salaries. So no?
If I understand what you're saying, is that someone else, because we had that question last year with a selected project and the answer was no. It's someone else is paying your salary and you add that as a concept in the budget. And then you have that amount free for any other expend. That's no. You can
because the researchers are also teachers. So there's a third-party agreement of giving 50% of their time for research.
You can add a complement to that budget if you think that it's good for the project or I don't know, whatever. That's okay for us, but we will not give money for that expense that's already paid by a third party.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
One more?
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, Patricia, please.
Thank you both for your explanation. I was just checking this to be sure that a public hospital or university can be part of a consortium.
You said public university, sorry?
Yes, public university and public hospitals.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. One new question?
Yeah, Eduardo Melo, please. Yeah, sorry.
Good morning. In the case of a consortium proposal, what kind of European countries are allowed to participate?
European, all of them?
Yeah, all of them?
And all of them, yeah. The only thing is that the budget that they can receive outside of Spain and Portugal is up to 30% of the total budget of the project. So the limitation is in terms of budget, but not in terms of country.
Okay, that includes the UK, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Azucena, you are so welcome.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. I have a question, very specific one, regarding maximum budget for institutions not located in Spain or Portugal. So in the scenario that you already have a partner who have a maximum of that 30% of the total project budget, could you still subcontract other services, for instance, analysis of lab samples to an overseas institution not located in Spain or Portugal?
Yes.
Yes, the subcontracted counts in whatever partner is asking for that. So if you are as a PL subcontract someone abroad, it counts like your project, your budget. So there's no problem on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Elisabetta Mereu. Hello, Elisabetta. Can you hear us?
We don't hear you.
Maybe you are mute.
No.
I think that probably the configuration of the audio, it's not okay.
Yeah. No, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It was the bigger screen not working. Thanks a lot for the nice explanation and for this meeting. I have one question about the algorithm that is used to pre-select the grants. How does it work? I mean, what are the criteria that are used for the pre-selection?
Should I go? You wanna
Yeah.
go?
No, go.
The algorithm has been taught to detect the project with less probability of being selected, and that has been done taking into account all the data from all the previous editions. So that's the main thing, using different text from the applications. Again, as Irene said before, no non-personal data, any kind of personal data, so methodology, state of the art, whatever, but text information, we have thought, test and done a pilot on that. And it detects the projects with less probability of being selected that are highlighted by that algorithm. And those projects are sent to 2 reviewers that are actually panel reviewers to get in condition of the kind of reviewers, and they confirm or discard that pre-rejection of that project. So it's based on an algorithm, but it's always confirmed by a human being, I would say.
Okay.
And
okay.
by 2 of them. So if only one of them highlighted a doubt of saying, I'm not sure that this should be pre-rejected, the project is sent to the normal, I would say, evaluation.
So this can be depending on, for example, on the structure of the proposal in terms of, for example, paragraphs, titles, or whatever can indicate to the algorithm this proposal is good or less good.
No, it's more on the content of those different sections of the proposal, because the proposal is the structure of the proposal is the same for everyone, as is based on the platform.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. So now, Elena Bonston.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have a question about host organizations. I belong to the University of Castilla-La Mancha, which is quite big. It's spread through different cities. And my question was if this university would be considered a single host organization,
yes,
or areas belonging to different cities would be considered like different things. No, they are the same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of organizations under this same number, and they're considered as one organizations. Any university with different faculties, I would say, or colleges, they're considered as only one.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So I think we are almost finished. Yes, Irene.
Yeah,
please.
we have some questions that I wrote
Yes.
very fast. I'm sure I missed some, so please email us.
Be
If we
careful,
don't.
because maybe I was already answering some.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But basically, rare diseases are applicable, are okay.
Irene, I think I was answering in person, one by one. So
okay.
Yeah. Yes, I have one here missing from Miguel Villaplana that is asking, what percentage can be directly to subcontracting?
There's no limitation.
We do know. Okay.
There's no limitation, but the budget is something that is evaluated. So it has to make sense with the project. If it's a huge amount of subcontracting, the reviewers usually mention like it doesn't make much sense as a whole, as a project.
It has to be justified, anything you add in the budget.
Then a really difficult question, what's the evaluation criteria for
that's on the website
to achieve or to arrive to 5.5 score?
Well, the evaluation criteria is in the rules for participation. As Carla was saying, 75% is the project, with among them scientific and excellence, impact, and many things, but you can check the specifics, and then 25% the team. That's basically it. The evaluation criteria is written down in the rules for participation and in the evaluation guide also.
So thank you so much, Carla and Irene. I think this has been great.
Yeah, thank you all
Questions
for
answered. So, and as we said, if anybody has any other question, we can just answer by email through the Health Research Fundación La Caixa.org. So thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.